What's going on there, guys? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster here on this Monday, May 2nd, 2022 date. It's about 6:10 p.m. California time. Latest quake shows some movement, 3.6 earthquake out here around the Indonesia area, right there on the earthquake 3D globe, showing that earthquake in the green flag. The latest earthquake on the map from the EMSC model. Let's go ahead and check out the movement here on the USGS map here. Pretty much about the same. We did see some further activity here into the Philippine plate, noticing a pretty significant swarm of activity just south of Japan, south of Tokyo here, along the Philippine plate and inland as well. So major amount of stress specifically around this northern section of the Philippine plate. That includes the trenches here to the east and over here to the west as well. So got to watch this pretty closely for some subsequent movement taking place. A little bit of activity, like I mentioned, right here in the center of the Philippine plate. This has kind of been an area where we've seen some deeper movement kicking up here last week. Let's see if I can pull up that activity. It may have been, there we go. Had a couple of deep earthquakes just south of this region that we're looking at today, way down there below 450 kilometers. So some major squeezing and adjustment going on with the Philippine plate here just in this area. Also at a secondary earthquake down there at about 432 kilometers as well. So it's a prime area for possibly some subsequent large earthquake happening soon here in that area. Watch it pretty closely. So I'm going to bounce over here to the west coast where we're still seeing some activity ramping up as well, right around the Monachi, right? Is that right? Monachi? I think that's correct here. I was looking at a couple different pronunciations. A comment here from Paul. Us locals in RC call it Monachi. Okay, Monachi, that's right. A favorite spot to go 4x4 camping. I appreciate that, Paul, for your comment on this area, the Monachi region. It's a beautiful volcanic dome out here, a cone cylinder. And there is a little bit of historical activity out here, some older volcanic movement, and specifically around the Koso volcanic range. A lot of historical data in terms of volcanic activity. And that's kind of where we're seeing an ongoing swarm kick up here, including this afternoon. We've seen another 1.6. We're looking at 9 earthquakes so far within this vicinity of the Monachi area. And looking at the satellite view, it's a beautiful cone. There we go. Here's actually a picture from a site here called peakbagging.com. They provided the photo here of Monachi Mountain. Obviously, cone cylinder, symmetrical volcanic cone. Very prominent out there, right? The mountain is 1,118 feet. Looking back over here to the USGS map here, like I say, we're still kind of watching that. We have seen a noticeable increase around the area in general. Just to the southeast, we had a 3.5. Kind of a larger quake, right? Haven't seen too much movement down here in the 3 range in a while. Looks like northwest of the Koso Junction, California area, 2.5 kilometers. By the way, you look at the depth of these earthquakes as well, and they're kind of all over the place. Very inconsistent, which is rather odd. So some, what do we got? Maybe some lava tubes down there. Maybe some magma chambers that are collapsing under pressure, possibly. I don't think it's volcanic like far as magma intrusion goes. But remember, the magma chambers down there definitely do kind of get, they get squished, so to speak, underneath pressure of the ongoing plate dynamics here. So that's just one little theory, I think. But 3.5 southeast of this region by just a couple miles. Also, we're noticing a little bit of swarming up here within the Koso Basin, right? A lot of volcanic activity within this area. Of course, this is the region where we did see that 2019 earthquake sequence on July 4th and July 5th, right? But it's kind of outside of the fault system here. The fault system that kind of fractured was up around here, it seems like, within this area of Ridgecrest. So watching that pretty closely, folks. Either way, I think we all can agree that there's definitely a heightened earthquake activity down there in that part of the state of California. Some quarry blasts out there around Mojave. A couple earthquakes out there around some major fault systems. I'm not for sure what they're trying to do, but who knows, right? Don't want to be sparking up any major earthquake due to the quarry blast. I'm not for sure if it's possible, but if you get a big one around a very high strained area, such as the San Andreas Fault, imagine someone coming down here and blasting off a bunch of quarry blast where this monster sleeps. Yeah, that would not be good. So Southern California down here along the Pacific side of the plate boundary, some activity kicking up along the San Jacinto Mountain range and the fault system itself. Nothing going on here along the Brawley seismic zone or the southern part of the San Andreas Fault for now. For now is the key word. Up into the north, central, I don't really consider this Northern California at all. San Jose, some activity kicking up here along this fault system, the Calaveras fault system, kind of the southern end it looks like, with a couple twos kicking up here in that area just south of the bay. And of course up here in the geysers, which I'm not going to say it again because it seems to irritate people. When I say there's no actual natural geysers up there, they're like, what are you talking about? There's hundreds of them. Well, there's not even one of them. So do your research on that. The operations up here are strictly related to Calpine and their energy solutions. And look it up. There's a lot of historical data, including lawsuits in the past because of their earthquake activity that's occurring because of them. Nothing above 2.5 for now. I'm pretty sure they're happy about that. We're looking at some microquakes up here in the very small range outside of the Cobb Mountain area where all those hydrothermal operations are taking place. Nonetheless, coincidence? Absolutely not. North of Willows, 1.9 here. This is Sacramento Valley. We do have a fault system that runs here. It's called the Great Valley Thrust Fault. And this earthquake right here is deep, 14 kilometers down there. So that I think that confirms the thrust fault area here to the west side of the valley. I wouldn't doubt it if we start seeing some earthquake activity here in the valley due to the draining of the water. The underground aquifers and whatnot are kind of running dry up here around the Orland and Willows area. A lot of orchards, so I don't get it. Before we had tons of rice fields out here in this area. Now they're planting massive amounts of orchards. And I just see all this continuous water coming up out of the ground due to pumps now. They're pumping the groundwater out. Can't really get it from the Sacramento River, right, as far as the canals go. So they're drilling down there and getting all this water out of the ground to water the orchards out here in the desert. Pretty much a desert out here. So it is what it is. Northern Cal up here around Eureka, this earthquake activity deep. Very deep movement here into the southern end of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. One earthquake here around the, whoa, I'm not even going to attempt that. Would somebody care to? All right, leave a comment because you know I will read it, and next time I'll hopefully be able to pronounce it. A 2.5 at 29 kilometers, so very deep activity here on the southern end of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. We'll check out the tremor map here in just a little bit, see if we got any return of tremor, or even if they're reporting it. Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, no renewed earthquake activity according here to the USGS, but we will check out the volcanic seismicity map on those two volcanoes here shortly. Some activity up here along the Washington area, northwest of Washington, or northwestern Washington, Forks, Washington. Look at that depth of that earthquake, 32 kilometers, folks. Some deeper movement occurring up here along this area of the Cascadia Subduction Zone, which extends. A lot of people don't know it, man, but this thing right here is a disaster waiting to happen. There's some beautiful countryside, some beautiful people, some beautiful communities up here along this area of the states and also up here into the Vancouver Island ranges. But man, a lot of people don't know what's up there, what's waiting for them one day. And it's not going to be pretty when that thing decides to finally release 322 years of built-up pressure. What do we got here in the Intermountain West region? Idaho, some scattered activity up and down the board, as well as Montana. No significant swarming going on that I can note there in that area. We'll check out Yellowstone graphs here in a minute. Barrel Junction, Utah, 2.4. Southwestern part of Utah, 11 kilometers for that earthquake. One thing I've noticed here, we haven't really seen too much earthquake activity around the... Well, it was around the Cedar, Utah. Remember up here? If you guys watch my updates daily, nightly, whatever, you'll know that we've always seen swarms going on here, and they've come and go. But lately it's been awfully quiet. This is the last 30 days of activity, and man, only one earthquake? That's a little odd, so I'm not for sure what's going on there, but the swarming has come to a complete halt in the Cedar, Utah area. Southern Plains, man, got some severe weather kicking off here once again with a tornado watch throughout Oklahoma and extending over into Arkansas. It looks like some much needed rainfall in that area, but the severe weather potential is pretty high right now in that region. Not for sure if they had any. I think I've seen a couple tornadoes touching down out there on the Storm Chasers live stream, but yeah, earthquake activity, not a whole lot going on, folks. A 1.8 near Canadian, Oklahoma, and a 2.8 out here outside of Pecos, Texas. 6.9 kilometer depth for that earthquake. New Madrid zone and the eastern seaboard, pretty quiet, folks. Not a whole lot going on. Puerto Rico, about the same. We've noticed a dying down of activity with only 9 earthquakes to report, and most of those older throughout the morning. This earthquake here in the Haiti area was from this morning as well, 4.5. No subsequent activity around the Caribbean plate. One earthquake here in the Costa Rica area with a 4.5. 34 kilometers there into the, looks like the trench area, very southern end of the Middle American Trench. Kind of extends down into this area. South America, not a whole lot going on either. We got one further deep earthquake of 4.4, 205 kilometer depth for that earthquake. South Sandwich Islands did see a 5.1, but then again, that was from late last night. No subsequent movement there. Just kind of a clutter and buildup over here around Japan, folks. And we're still watching for some activity a little bit larger than the 5.5. And I keep saying that because it's lacking subsequent movement along with the majority of the plate direction and the plate buildup and earthquake activity that I've seen over the past couple months here. This area has got to go pretty soon. We did see a little telltale sign of something possibly. 5.5 earlier today within that region of the watch zone. 234 kilometer depth for that earthquake. But I think anything with that deeper movement, it's only adding strain up here. Let's see what else we got. China, areas around the Mediterranean, a little bit of earthquake. One Portugal earthquake of 4.0 and a 3.3. Yeah, it's the Portugal earthquake, and then we also had a 3.3 up here in Italy. All right, let's go ahead and check out the tremor map here for tonight along the Cascadia Subduction Zone there. Check that out. Got a little bit of activity. 63 epicenters of tremor, and mostly here into the Oregon area, the southern end of the Cascadia Zone. Let me check yesterday's activity. It looks clear. Sometimes I go back and check these days that were quiet, just to make sure that they didn't add them on late. You know, like, well, there's 500 epicenters of tremor. Let's go ahead and add it on there, but just make it a couple days late, folks. I don't see it. They're not reporting anything, so only a little bit of activity, like I mentioned there in southern Oregon. Volcanic seismicity. Webby quarters here will give us an indication of what's going on here at the volcanoes, such as Mount St. Helens. Nothing new showing up here on the map, but that doesn't mean that there's not activity popping up here. And that's why we need to investigate for ourselves, and do our own reporting. And that's kind of what's going on here with this channel, right? We report that activity every day, twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. And there's some activity here over the last couple hours. Looking at those blue spikes there, we'll go ahead and check out the previous UTC day, which would include this morning and this afternoon time frame. Stand by for just a second, see what we got. Alrighty, so notice the you guys notice the squiggly lines. It looks like when the activity kind of ramps up here, and I'm not for sure how they have this seismograph set up, but it almost looks like when an earthquake occurs on previous days, they kind of de-amplify or desensitize the graphs. So now we're not seeing too much in terms of earthquake activity here throughout this afternoon, and these squiggly lines have gotten bigger. So maybe they're kind of tuning it up here a little bit, amplifying it to possibly see these very smaller quakes. And believe it or not, folks, these little earthquakes here are indeed some movement. They look like fault systems or some type of general earthquakes, not magma movement, not any kind of magma intrusion. In fact, when we looked at the GPS station, specifically in this area during this morning's update, it shows a deflation event ongoing for a couple years now. So the subsidence of the caldera could create quakes. It probably does. It probably what we're seeing here. But I'm not going to discount the earthquake activity that we continuously are seeing here at the Mount St. Helens area. So yeah, definitely throughout the day today and this afternoon, pretty good handful of quakes. And then again, like I said, these guys are not reporting the activity that we're seeing. They're only showing 2 earthquakes from the second. I got hiccups all of a sudden. That's not good. Hoping they go away. So yeah, we'll check out Mount Rainier real quick here and see what we got. Same thing, pretty much up here as well. These guys are showing 1 or 2, looks like maybe 3 earthquakes today. We'll see what we got. Unfortunately, on this one, let's see if they fixed it. We can't bypass it all the time, right? Let's go ahead and check and see if they fixed this or not. Last time I looked, it was like just like that. It's just blown up, crazy looking, and you can't decipher anything from the readings that are set up here with the instrument and the settings of this Webb recorder and this seismograph. So we will see. We'll go ahead and check it out. Yeah, look at that. Come on. How is anyone going to decipher that? Look at it, guys. There's no earthquakes. All right, let's go back over here to the a different reading here, but still pretty much within the summit of Mount Rainier. And we'll see what we got going on here. And obviously, definitely a couple earthquakes here within the last couple hours. That's those signatures right there in the black. And we'll check out the previous day here. And see how the lines they're kind of thicker down here, and then they get thinner as you go up here. But we still see some small earthquakes, very small ones around Mount Rainier, but nothing as intense as what we're seeing at Mount St. Helens. But then again, the activity at Mount St. Helens is nothing to definitely alarm about. It's just a lot of microquakes, very small microquakes that are occurring there at that volcano. Let's go ahead and bounce out of that map and let's see what we got here. Somebody mentioned about a buoy going off here along the west coast. And I tell you, man, we read these comments, every single comment, and we appreciate them. Even the bad ones, folks. So just because I don't give you a little heart out there, I try to as much as I can to the ones that that I appreciate. And of course, I try to pin comments on my videos to the ones that kind of melt my heart, so to speak, or kind of make me smile. I do pin those. So anyway, there was a little water column height out here off the coast of Northern California, and looking at the second range, very short, distinct measurement of a water column height variance at this buoy station. Looking at the event details, looks like there was almost looks like a 10-meter differential here. See how it this is kind of puzzling here. A lot of people, you got to read these graphs here. This is a water column height. Now I'm thinking, if this is correct here, when this chart goes up, that means that the water column height in meters, right? Wouldn't that be up? It's got to be. I'm just wondering if, and there's nothing afterwards. I'm just wondering if something landed on it, or I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Maybe a seal's out there. Or it could be anything. But there's nothing afterwards. I looked on this data buoy system in other areas, and there's quite a few other buoys out here, and I didn't see anything different as far as the variance of the buoy measurement. So it's hard to say what this is. It's very short and it's very quick. and subsequent activity returns back to normal. So who knows, right? There's a lack of data reporting in there as well. I don't know. Maybe there's a big seagull. It could be a mermaid. Who knows what's going on? But it is out there. Kind of odd, right? It is out there in the region of the just shy of the Cascadia Subduction Zone, it looks like, on the Pacific Plate and the, in this case, the Explorer Plate up there. Let's go ahead and check out the Earthquakes Canada map. I don't see any other buoys out here in event mode. I do kind of like to look at them to, you know, maybe see if we got something going on out there in the ocean floor. But a lot of times these are just like that buoy over here around the Java Trench the other day. It's technical errors. I still haven't got an email back from these folks regarding that data. So they're probably working on it, folks. What was I going to check? What was I going to check? Oh, yeah. Earthquakes Canada here. And see what we got for earthquake activity offshore there in that region of the northern end of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. So the buoy kind of sits out. The buoy was kind of out here on the map, just kind of along the Pacific Plate and the Explorer Plate boundary. Cascadia sits within this area right here where the hand is, up and down that blue line. So we did see some activity here, including the latest earthquake. That was earlier today, 3.1 at 10 kilometers, and some subsequent movement up here inland into the BC area in Washington State. Looks like some activity outside of... looks like we're around the BC or Alberta regions. But it's hard to say with those buoys, folks. It really is. Like I say, if it was something going on locally, we would definitely see that signature pop up along those nearby buoys. So that's the thing I kind of look for. Yellowstone National Park. There's not a whole lot going on here, folks. Looks like, and don't let this whatever's going on here kind of make you think that there's you know, magma intrusion, right? If you think about ground movement, if you think about magma intrusion, we would be seeing a broader scale of this signature. Say if this is actually some type of magma movement underground locally in the park, we would definitely be seeing this show up at these very localized stations right next to the seismograph station, right? But we don't. It would be obvious, it would be a distinct signature, and we don't. So this right here, not for sure what it is, but it's not magma. It's not anything related to the volcano. This kind of looks like could be heavy equipment operation around the region. I don't know what's going on, but if you look here on the map, it's kind of within the vicinity of the lake area, Yellowstone Lake, but just to the west here. So not for sure what's going on, folks. You know, it is Monday. Maybe they were out there repairing roads or digging who knows what. But you guys get it, right? It would show up, obviously, on these other localized stations. Far as general seismic activity goes, there's not a whole lot being picked up here throughout the Yellowstone Park at all. None. Zip zero. What do we have here for solar weather activity here in the solarham.net website? Calm and green conditions across the board here, across the 3-day geomagnetic forecast. Not a whole lot going on for the aurora watchers. One of these days, I'm hoping to get up there somewhere, maybe Alaska, Canada, to see the auroras. I think that would be awesome. It's definitely on my bucket list. What do we got here? A new active region, the sign 3004, is forming in the southeast quadrant and could become a threat for minor C-class solar flares. So we'll be turning to the Earthside view within the next 24 hours, and it looks like it's currently producing some minor C-class flares. So a little bit of development popping up around the bend, and it's going to be these ones right here shown up here on the map, which will be visible soon along the Earth side. We actually just barely see them popping up here. These other sunspots are kind of growing. They're a little bit, but right now they do not pose any type of threat for any type of significant flaring that I can see in their magnetic structure. So it is what it is, and it's not going to be quiet like this forever. It's going to be very active here soon. That's a given. So yeah, a real quick recap. Looking at the activity here on the board, nothing really showing up, right, as far as at least the latest earthquake activity goes here on the 4.0 range from the USGS. Checking the EMSC models, they're in agreement, and shows pretty much about the same activity here that the USGS is showing. Although a little bit of activity down here in the Gulf of California, south of there, Middle America Trench, quite a few threes, including a couple fours kicking up here in that area. And I believe the USGS only showing, let's see what they got here. They don't really show anything. So there's a couple fours missing off here off the coast of Mexico, Guatemala area, it looks like. What else we got here, folks? I think that's about it. I'm going to jump off here, closing in on 30 minutes. I didn't mean to make it that long, but it is what it is. And hope everyone enjoys their evening. Stay safe out there. Make sure you guys subscribe here. We're really super duper close to 75,000 subscribers, folks, and we definitely need a little bit more. We're under 2,000, obviously, to go. But man, I would really love to get this 75,000 subscriber giveaway going soon. The summertime is the best time, and we got to make it happen. We got to get the jump going with the subscriber count. So it comes and goes, obviously. Not everyone's super happy with the facts. A lot of people like to be tangled up in the fear mongering and the scaredness and the false data that's being reported out there. But a lot of people want to hear the facts. They want to hear the truthful information, and that's what we shoot for here on this channel. And we go straight to the source, the raw data. If we can't find the raw data, we go straight to the people that own or operate it, and we email them directly. I'll call these folks if they don't reply to me regarding that weird buoy data in the Java Trench from a couple days ago. So I'll find out what's going on. I'm definitely not scared to get a hold of people, and I will definitely I'll record the phone call and pass it on to you guys. That's kind of what we do here. We like to be transparent in terms of bringing official and live data here to you guys. All right, we're good. I'm going to jump off here, folks. Have a good night. Man, we're supposed to be heating up tomorrow here in California. It's supposed to be about 88 and then 95 degrees on a Wednesday, and then a cool down. So I can deal with these little ups and downs for now. We'll see how it goes. Got a 3.6 coming in to the Honduras area right now. You can see that on the Earthquake 3D globe. So, all right, guys, have a good night. We'll chat to you a little bit later. Peace out, everyone.